You're listening to the Wedding Biz Network, the voice of the creative entrepreneur. Hey everyone, it's Andy Kushner with The Wedding Biz, a podcast that provides both education and inspiration for those of us in or interested in the weddings and event industry. Last week, if you missed it, had a fantastic conversation, a very heartfelt interview with the one and only master floral and event designer, Preston Bailey. Be sure to listen to that one if you haven't already. Today's guest is Michelle Demaree, the founder and CEO of Miss Diamond Ring, a Los Angeles-based diamond concierge service offering clientele a personalized boutique service as special as their love story. After honing her craft for over a decade in the diamond industry and representing state-of-the-art brands such as Harry Winston, Tiffany Co, and Van Cleef, Michelle has created her own signature process, offering the highest level of bespoke ring making for global clients seeking the best available. Michelle, also known as Miss Diamond Ring, has been covered in many publications, including Forbes, People, The New York Times, Today, and Modern Luxury Weddings. And by the way, we have a code for you to use to get 5% off any purchase. And that code is WeddingBiz5. The numeral 5. Again, Wedding Biz 5. So enjoy this conversation with Michelle Demaree. Hey, Michelle, it's so fun to have you on the show because, as we said a minute ago, we actually met through social media. And so it works, doesn't it?
Oh my God, it does. Andy, it's so fun to meet you here. And yeah, the craziest things have happened through social media. And, you don't think it's going to, but here we are.
Yeah, no, well, and I think it started because you had made some comments about some of my episodes and I appreciated it. And then I thought, well, this is interesting. Let me see more about what she does. And so that's what kind of led to this. And, the first thing that really stuck out to me is your tagline that I saw on the website. I love it, which is, it's quote, "I'm Michelle, and my passion is making your love story a sparkling work of art." And that's like the ultimate elevator pitch, isn't it?
Oh my God, it really is. And that is what we do and what a ring should be, is a work of art that tells your love story, and a very sparkly work of art.
Yeah, and we're going to definitely kind of take a deeper dive into that. But I noticed that you had grown up in San Diego and you put yourself through college. You had a full ride at Pepperdine and worked in real estate and then moved to the Midwest, I guess you said, it's public, so I'm going to say it, a relationship that didn't work out. And then we'll get into it in a minute, the different places you work. But did you have any kind of passion for diamonds when you were like a little girl or a little bit older? Was there anything that kind of hinted at what you might become?
So my mom was a nurse growing up, and she, I grew up very humble beginnings. But my mom had the most beautiful ring. It was small, but I always loved her ring. I actually have a picture of me wearing it too. It's just kind of like an old school gold band, little solitaire and like a flower around it. I remember that always catching my eye, but funny enough, I really never went to the jewelry store. No, it was something that I didn't know I would love it. I was never really exposed to it. Yeah, it really happened when I went to the Midwest. I tripped and fell into the diamond industry, truly.
And before that, I understand that you became marketing director for Bentley, Lamborghini, Bugatti. Isn't that right? That was like your first kind of serious career job. Is that right?
Well, that was my second serious career job. My first was selling high-end real estate in Las Vegas during the huge real estate boom. Yeah, that was right after college. So I started selling luxury real estate. And then I did high-end cars, right? So I sold millions in real estate, millions in, cars. And I really didn't know much about cars either. It's like, it just knew people and luxury, and then onto diamonds. So that was kind of my path.
Well, how did you break it? I think your first position was, if I'm saying this correctly, Van Cleef and Arpels. Am I saying that right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's such a funny story how I started working there. So when I was I went to Chicago for a relationship. We were long distance. We thought we'd move there. Of course, it didn't really work out, but that's okay because it was a new chapter of my life. And when I was at Bentley, Lamborghini, Bugatti, I felt that it probably wasn't going to be the right fit long-term for me. I just knew that deep down. But what had happened is they were doing a huge weekend event with the Peninsula Hotel. So Peninsula Hotel had a Valentine's Day package that was $250,000 for their top penthouse suite.
Wow.
And you also got a Bentley, and you also got Pratesi sheets, and you also got a Van Cleef & Arpels diamond watch. And so I drove the Bentley to the Peninsula Hotel, in the snow, and I'm up in this suite, and there was the director of Van Cleef & Arpels. Now, mind you, I had never heard of this company, and I thought Van Cleef & Arpels was like a law firm. And so I go there and I'm like, oh my God, look at this beautiful diamond watch. Make friends with Cheryl Dyer and offer her a ride home in the elevator back to her store in the Bentley. And of course, she's not going to pass on that. And on our ride in the Bentley in the snow, which I almost crashed the car because I didn't know how to drive rear wheel in the snow, we started chatting, and she was looking for a sales associate. And I had a very strong sales background in real estate. And then, of course, working in luxury, it just seemed like a good fit. And so by the time I had dropped her off, she wanted me to work for her, work at Van Cleef & Arpels. And so a few interviews later, I landed a position there and became, the top selling sales associate in Chicago.
It's so interesting telling me the story, because I've had somewhat similar situations. Like I have a music and entertainment company. That's the main thing I do in the event industry. And long time ago, I kind of had this, I don't know, I don't want to call it a technique, but I would meet, luxury event producers at these conferences. And I went to some where I live, which is the Washington, D.C. area. And I remember, Michelle, there were 2 times where I offered to take someone to an airport, because I wasn't really getting enough time in person at the conference, and kind of connected a little bit. And I knew that if I could just get that one-on-one time for a period of time, who knows, it might lead to something. And they did. I mean, I was driving with them for whatever it was, 20, 30 minutes. And by the end of the ride, had some serious business on the books. So it works.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It does. It totally works. When you can take people out of their business mind and you just get personal with them, and you just talk about life, and you connect with people. That's when magic happens.
Yeah, it really does. And I understand that you became one of their top salespeople, and then you joined Tiffany Company. And I guess you went back to California on Rodeo Drive. Is that right? Is that where you worked for Tiffany?
Yeah. So I was at Van Cleef for a couple years, and I was a little homesick because I was there alone, there with my little Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. We would watch Sex and the City at night. Anyway, I had wanted to transfer with Van Cleef back to LA, but they didn't have a position. So I got a position at Tiffany Company on Rodeo Drive. Yeah, that was my next jump.
And then Harry Winston, right, was after that.
And then right down the block on Rodeo Drive, Harry Winston. Yes. All incredible jewelry houses, all incredible experiences, and all very different.
One thing I notice and I admire is that, from real estate to luxury cars to, Van Cleef, Tiffany's, all of this, you've stayed kind of in that luxury market, but different products. And this really kind of proves the point, right? That it's more the skill set that you have, like with marketing and then sales. We really kind of can apply it to almost anything.
You really can. Sales is not about closing. It's about connecting. The always be closing. It's always be connecting. If you understand people and you understand what drives them and what's important to them, which at the end of the day is how you make them feel, you can do anything. You can sell. You're not really selling. You're offering a solution. You're offering an experience. And when you kind of get over that hump, and it's not about making money, it's about providing value and an incredible experience, abundance will flow.
Yeah, it took me a while, in my career to figure that out. I was very kind of business-like, and really things shifted when I started to look at it that way, what you're talking about. It definitely makes such an enormous difference to connect. So then I believe we're getting a little more current. We're talking about now 2013. You have it in your information, your bio, that you had a daughter, you left retail. Now that was really courageous. What was that? I understand from what I'm kind of gathering here is that you really wanted to be present for your daughter more as a mother. Is that right? As a parent?
Absolutely, Andy. That was it. I was excited. I got married. I had Charlotte. And I wanted to give her all of my time and love. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And Harry Winston was kind enough to offer me a stay-at-home position where I was able to come in and meet with my high-profile clients while I was at home with Charlotte, so it was really lovely. But then I got to a point where I wanted to say goodbye to retail. And at that point, I didn't know that I was going to start my own business. I didn't know that yet. I was just done with retail and I just wanted to take a break. And it wasn't until a very good friend of mine, Rebecca Caffiero, who's also an incredible entrepreneur, she invited me to this weekend in Orange County called the Bliss Project, run by Lori Harder, very, very well-known entrepreneur. And it was that weekend where you're kind of supposed to discover your bliss as a woman and see what you're here to give back to the world and your zone of genius and, what kind of feels right. And that's when I was inspired to start my company that weekend.
Now, wait, you just mentioned Zone of Genius. Are you talking about Gay Hendricks' book? Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, yes. Maybe.
That's funny. I forget what it's called. The Leap, Making the Leap, something like that. And then he also has a book called Zone of Genius. Yeah, anyone listening here, I mean, these books by Gay Hendricks is amazing. And I just listened to it. So that really struck me when you said that. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I guess what we're talking about is, like we said earlier, having the skills for selling, which is all about connecting, can apply to almost anything. And so, when you talk about finding your zone of genius, just to dig in there a little bit, I guess what I'm getting is that you really kind of honed it until you got, even though you could do other things so well, that this is what you found was really your calling.
Yes. Yeah. Like your dharma. It's, we can be competent at many things, but when you're doing what you love, and you're doing it well, that's when everything kind of flows and it doesn't feel like work. Like my work, my business, Miss Diamond Ring, has felt like this incredibly fun, like passion project. And it never stops. It's always like an evolving Rubik's Cube where you're trying to problem solve and you're growing and you're challenged. And it all starts with intrinsic motivation and passion, which is, gosh, I really liked what I did working at all these jewelry stores. I really liked it. But these are some things I would change. And here's how I would make it better. Oh my God, I think I'm going to start this business and I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And you set your goals and you just go for it. You figure it out as you go.
Well, that took a lot of guts. I mean, for you to after being in these kind of, let's say somewhat comfortable positions, working for other companies and people, then here you are completely going for it on your own.
Yeah, it's a scary, fun adventure that is not without some hard knocks and some imposter syndrome moments where you're like, who am I to do this? But I remember actually Lori Harder saying, like, who are you not to do this? If you don't do it, someone else will. So you just have to kind of follow that inner calling and go for it. And what everyone else thinks about you it's none of my business. It's none of our business. I just was focused on like, how do I add value? How do I create this beautiful thing? How do I make it an authentic expression of my soul? Because I wanted this business to be more soulful, more based on love stories, just more special, more white glove, and of course, luxury. And so, yeah, it was scary. I didn't know how to start a bit. I didn't know anything. And I was kind of going through a divorce at the time too. So
wow, that's a rough time to do something like this.
It was. I had a young child. And the thing is, I wanted to start this business so I didn't have to go back to retail hours. And so I could be home with my daughter, but also build this business in a way that would offer a more balanced, happy life. Because I value my time and balance and ease more than anything. And so I have created literally my dream business, but it took time and it took commitment.
So when you founded it, wasn't the industry heavily male dominated at that time? And maybe even still, but definitely then, right? Wasn't that part of the challenge that you came up against?
Oh, big time. Yeah. Yes, I had several wholesalers telling me this will never work. You can't.
Really? Just straight out, they said it like that?
Straight up. It will never work. You got to use 2 wholesalers and be loyal to them. Otherwise, no one will ever give you stones. And my whole thing was, well, what's in the best interest of my clients? When you go to a store, they're going to offer you what they have on hand, but it might not be the best option for you if you're buying a diamond. They might oversell you on clarity when you could have gone a carat bigger in a carat bigger or 1 grade higher in color. And it takes time and custom sourcing and connections to do that. And so I literally started with one introduction, one contact in the wholesale industry. And then I built it to 2, and I built it to 4, and I built it to 10. And now it's like my contacts are global in the diamond industry. I can get anything. I can get 10 carats if I need to for a client. I actually did for a Florida client who bought a 10 carat. And he said no store in Florida was able to get him even 3 10 carats. And so I'm really proud because it took some hustling and it took believing in myself. But I knew, if the focus was on what's best for the client and I added value to the wholesalers by selling their stones, being consistent, paying on time, I could do it.
So what kind of budget range, I don't know if I want to call it budget range, but if you're talking, 10 carats, and I think I saw on your site that your gallery has diamonds from 3 to 20 carats. I mean, what is the range of price when it comes to pricing for that? What are people spending?
Gosh, well, people can spend anywhere from 10 to 20,000 for a ring up to $500,000 to $1 million plus.
Yeah,
I would say, my goal in the business was, because I'm in sense a service-based business, trading time for money. My goal was to focus on 5 to 10 carat diamond rings, because if you only have so many hours in the day, you might as well go for the big ones, right?
Right.
And so it kind of has become that. Now I have a team to help with the 1 to 5 carat range, but the average spend starts around 50,000. I'd say quite a few 6-figure rings. And the interesting thing is during the pandemic, I was not expecting this, but because all of the jewelry stores closed, I was the go-to source for these very big diamonds because even the downtown diamond district was closed. So I would meet at these wholesalers' homes and their palaces in Brentwood and Beverly Hills and pick up the diamonds and send virtual photos to my clients in Florida or my clients in Chicago or New York or wherever they were. And they literally would buy, 5 to 10 carat diamonds sight unseen. And so my business became very virtual. Over half of my business is out of state, but it's always evolving.
I want to make sure that you're aware of 2 other shows that are on the Wedding Biz Network. First, The Business of Being Creative, hosted by founder and president of The Business of Being Creative, Sean Lowe. Sean's consulting firm is focused on providing practical advice to those in the business of being creative. Tune in every Tuesday to hear a new episode chock full of topics and advice for creative businesses. Also, check out the 2 seasons of Stop and Smell the Roses, hosted by the one and only lifestyle and event design expert, Preston Bailey. Preston speaks with such an honest voice. I know you're going to thoroughly enjoy hearing him on this unique platform. You can find both shows at theweddingbiznetwork.com or on your cell phone's podcast app for both The Business of Being Creative and Stop and Smell the Roses. So what is your general process with clients? If you could kind of take me through from start to end, and if you want to use an example of 1 or 2, that's fine. But just generally, what is this process that you use, that you do?
Yeah, so clients have to go to the website and fill out a form, which will set up a call for a diamond discovery call with me. So we first have a call. I like to get to know the client, see if we're a mutually good fit. I don't take on everyone because some people have unrealistic expectations. Some people are shopping around with 10 other people. That's not going to be the right fit for me. It's someone who's busy, who wants the best, who is able to outsource this to me. This is my zone of genius. So we have a call. And then the next step is we go over the diamond criteria. I make my recommendations and I start sourcing. And, the stone could be in LA, it could be in Hong Kong, it could be in Canada, wherever it is, I bring in the options. And if the client is out of state, I take video, photo, and they're able to kind of choose which one they want. We do a lot of Zoom calls to discuss everything, or they'll fly in or we'll meet in person. And then once we choose the stone, because most everything is custom made, no one really wants a cookie cutter ring. They want their own unique, like I said, work of art. And I do love to learn my couple's love stories. I love to hear how they met. Oh my God. I've heard I want to create a book of all the love stories that I've gotten to work with, these couples. One couple, they met at the Yard House, and he knew. He's like, I'm going to marry this girl. And 3 months later, they were engaged and they were, they were broke. You know, them at the yard house. They're just like doing life together. 10 years later, he has this incredibly successful Amazon business, and he was able to buy her a 10 carat. And they're just as madly in love today as they were 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that beautiful, real love. I mean, so many incredible stories. But anyway, so I learned every couple's love story. We start building the ring. We start integrating unique aspects. And
like what? Can you give me some examples, Michelle? Like in terms of someone's story, and you learn certain information, and then you kind of integrate it into the ring design. Can you give an example or two?
Yes, absolutely. One example actually is May and Ali, who are in Manhattan Beach here in California. They had the most incredible story where when they were little, her dad was a famous singer, and he and his family used to always listen to her dad. He was a famous Persian singer, and he saw her dad at a park when he was a little boy and went and hugged her dad, not knowing that later that would be his future father-in-law. And they met on Bumble a couple years ago, and, you know, just like realized how synchronistic and synergistic the universe is, and how they were, you know, they say soulmates meet or cross paths when they're younger. So anyway, we were able to actually take the diamond and write an inscription on it in Farsi that was very meaningful to both of them, and kind of their unique connection. And it's microscopic, so you need a 10-power magnifying glass to see it. But that was a surprise that he had added in for her, along with adding in both of their birthstones to the inside of the band. That's always a unique element that will, you know, forever connected. For some couples, will take one of their fingerprints and put it on the inside of the band. So it's like they're always connected. So there's so many, you know, sourcing stones from the place they met or the place of their birth. There's so many interesting ways to just make it meaningful and a little bit more special.
Is there anything that's really trending when it comes to diamond rings? Is there such an answer that what's trending now? Yes,
actually. Well, ovals have been a very strong trend for, I'd say, about 3 years. Oval cuts. It used to be rounds, and it used to be princess cut. Then it was round. Then it was cushion. Then it was cushion with a halo around the top, you know, to make the diamond bigger. And now the halos around the tops are a little bit kind of falling out of trend. They're still beautiful, but, you know, women are preferring just a simple solitaire, just the stone on, I'm seeing gold with a huge comeback, right? We'll usually do a two-tone ring where we'll encase the diamond in a white metal to enhance its whiteness, and then put it on a yellow gold band, like a really thin 1.5 millimeter. We call it like a skinny mini band to make the diamond aesthetically look larger. And then a hidden halo underneath, which is like a tiny little basket of diamonds underneath the stone, just for her to enjoy and look at. But I'd say the solitaire style ovals, I'm doing a ton of elongated radiance and elongated cushions. Women are wanting elongated stones because they're flattering and they are spreadier. And when I say spreadier, that means that they look larger. It might take a 3 carat and it'll look like a 3.5 carat if it's elongated. So those are trending. And then the final trend is antique and old European vintage cut diamonds that have a different facet structure, a little bit more asymmetrical, a little bit wider, longer, kind of candlelight era diamonds that are a bit more romantic. I personally, that's my favorite, is the, you know, antique old miner cushion. It's just extraordinarily beautiful and breathtaking. So those are fewer and far between, but those are really fun to treasure hunt for.
Yeah, sounds really amazing. You know, I want to come back for a moment to marketing, like your own marketing. And what I'm referring to is your social media. I was impressed to see, at least at this time, you've got over 100,000 Instagram followers. I noticed that on each of your posts, you get a ton of likes. Was this something that just kind of started almost organically, or did you have a real specific strategy to build, you know, that particular channel, that platform for yourself?
Yes. That's a great question, because Instagram is kind of I think everyone has a love-hate relationship with Instagram. I opened my account, you know, when I opened the business, and I didn't know much about it. So, you know, you learn about hashtags and you go for growth, but really you want to identify your target client. So yeah, it's just been kind of a steady growth every year, and learning how the algorithms work, learning which hashtags work best, learning that reels really drive traffic. And they really do. And then of course, connecting everything to your shop, collaborations. So it's this, this constant evolving tool that has been very beneficial for me. I've gotten a lot of business off of Instagram. However, is it my best business? No, it's really not. My best business is referral.
Word of mouth. Yeah.
Word of mouth. And then my YouTube videos. Actually, I have a lot of YouTube explainer videos about, ovals, cushions, radiance, all the things you need to know. And those are about 10 to 20 minutes long each. And what I've found, because I've gotten a lot of big diamond business through those unintentionally, like I just posted those, not even thinking about it. And, they've kind of grown organically on their own. But when a client is thinking about purchasing, what they need more than anything, especially if it's a higher price point, is trust. And so if it's not through a personal referral, it's through time spent with you, even virtually. So the more time they have watching me on video, they get to know me. They get to know I'm a real person. They can, figure out if they know and trust me, and then they'll reach out and say, I want you to do my ring. Like, I like you.
Yeah.
So it's been very powerful. I would say the three most powerful things in social media for me have been Instagram, YouTube, and SEO. Are
you running it yourself, or have you hired a company to help you with it?
So I run my own Instagram, and I've tried hiring companies, and it's never really worked out. It's just never, I'm the only one that can post my own content. I'm the only one with 10,000 diamond videos on my phone, so I really want it to be me and mine. So,
well, I guess that's the purest way of getting your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I don't need to have, if I wanted, I could buy 1 million followers tomorrow. It's you can do that. It's great social proof. People can come to your site and be like, oh, okay, she's legit. She's got the blue check mark. She's got followers, this and that. But is it really going to drive sales? Is it really going to connect you with clients?
Yeah.
So it's sometimes we miss the point with Instagram. It's really about post the things that truly inspire you, that connect you to your brand, that will connect you to your audience, the things that are interesting to them. And it's generally worked out for me.
Yeah. And before we go, I also want to talk about this collection. I mean, I believe you mostly do diamond engagement rings, but didn't you launch a collection called Diamonds with Soul? Is that right?
Yes, Andy. This is my favorite collection. These are what I call intention diamonds. And they're so beautiful. They're a collection of mixed shaped diamonds. So you have, you see diamond hoops out there. Our diamond hoops have emerald cuts and pear shapes and marquise and rounds and ovals, which catch the light a little bit more, right? So you have all those mixed facets. And the beauty of this collection is that, in my opinion, we are all diamonds in formation, right? We're all going through the good and the bad of life. And the way diamonds are formed is through intense heat and intense pressure, right? And so when I went through my divorce and started this business and was raising my daughter, that was heat, pressure, polishing, things that were uncomfortable, but created honestly the best version of myself. It created more wisdom, more character, more strength, more resilience, more brilliance, radiance, all of these things that are also a diamond. And so the goal of this collection, which is beautiful for bridal and beautiful for every day. I mean, it really is very interchangeable for the wedding industry, for anyone getting engaged, getting married, or just who wants to honor themselves with a beautiful piece of jewelry. The whole goal is to set an intention, honor yourself, buy a piece of jewelry that you will love. And diamonds, because they come out of the earth and they're crystals, they carry energy and they amplify energy. And so when you put one of these on your hand or close to your heart chakra, you set the intention, whether it's calling in your soulmate, manifesting more abundance, health, fertility, forgiveness. It could be many, many different things. You can set an intention with your partner. And then there's actually a meditation that goes with the ring or the piece of jewelry, the intention diamond, done by Ryan Haddon, she was actually Kourtney Kardashian's hypnosis coach, but she's been my meditation and hypnosis coach for years. And what happens is when you set an intention and you're wearing this piece of jewelry and it's visually, like it's your daily reminder of the intention you set, it actually builds new neural pathways. It's like a neural manifestation. And so I'm really big on this. I feel like I've manifested my business, obviously through hard work, but through being very intentional. And so this collection is that. It's beautiful. It's very feminine, and each piece means something different. So yeah, it's diamondswithsoul.com, and it's my passion project.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And the way you're talking about it with setting an intention, and especially that, setting an intention, but it's there on your hand to remind you constantly. I love that, because I've heard and done a little bit of this with various crystals, but then you set it down and it's not with you and you forget, and so this way, I love how it's a way to stay with you.
Yeah. And think about how often we're on our phones, we're on the computer. It's like we're looking at our hands all day long. So it's just that boom, just a reminder to honor your highest self. And for women, there are a lot of badass boss babes out there, running their own business. They're the right hand at their business. They don't need to wait for a man to buy them something. They can buy it for themselves.
Yes. Yes.
When you think about it, you buy a new handbag every year, 2 years. You have to buy new shoes every 6 months, but a piece of jewelry you have for your entire life, and you remember the time in your life that you bought it and what that meant to you. It always carries an emotion. So yeah, I'm really big on that.
Yeah, it's very empowering too. So, well, Michelle, this has been really interesting. The time flew. My God.
Oh,
I feel
it did.
It just started.
I know.
But this is great. I appreciate, how quickly you responded to me, and we, pulled this together, and I just think you have a real interesting story. And so congratulations. This has been really nice.
Thank you so much, Andy. I'm such a fan of your podcast. So I'm so thrilled to be able to, to be on it and to share my story. And when you make it to the West Side out here in California, we'll have to grab a drink.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Michelle Demaree. Remember to use the code of WeddingBiz5, the numeral 5, to get 5% off any purchases. Again, that's WeddingBiz5. And you can check out her website at MissDiamondRing.com. Her social media handle is MissDiamondRing. And be sure to check out the show notes with event pics that our guest provided in your cell phone's podcast app or at our website of theweddingbiz.com. And be sure to subscribe to The Wedding Biz, particularly on Instagram, so you know whenever a new episode is dropped. And we'll catch you next week.